Ever wondered how a warming planet could possibly affect your health? It's a question that many of us may not have considered, but the answer is more complex and far-reaching than you might imagine. To begin, let's unravel the concept of climate change, with a special emphasis on global warming. Quite simply, our planet is getting hotter. This isn't a natural fluctuation in Earth's temperature, but a steady increase that's largely driven by human activities. Imagine our Earth as a greenhouse, with gases in our atmosphere trapping the sun's heat. Now picture us humans pumping more and more of these heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere through activities like burning fossil fuels for electricity, heat, and transportation. This is essentially what's happening on a global scale, and it's causing our planet to heat up, hence the term global warming. But where does health fit into this picture? Well, the effects of climate change aren't limited to melting ice caps and rising sea levels. They also have direct and indirect impacts on our health. Direct impacts can be as straightforward as heat-related illnesses and deaths due to rising temperatures. Indirect impacts, on the other hand, are a little more subtle and involve changes in our environment that affect disease patterns and other health outcomes. For instance, changes in precipitation patterns and increased temperatures can lead to droughts, which can limit access to clean water, a vital resource for maintaining health. Alternatively, heavier rainfall can create ideal breeding grounds for disease-carrying insects like mosquitoes, leading to an increase in diseases such as malaria and dengue fever. So climate change and health? Yes, they're more connected than you might think. As our planet continues to warm, these health impacts will likely become more prevalent, affecting individuals and communities in all corners of the globe. This makes understanding and addressing the health impacts of climate change more critical than ever. So, now that we know climate change is a reality, how exactly does it impact our health? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the direct and indirect effects of our changing climate on human health. When we say climate change, what comes to mind? Rising temperatures, perhaps. But how does this relate to our health? Well, imagine a searing summer day, the kind of day where the air shimmers with heat and stepping outside feels like walking into an oven. Now imagine those days becoming more frequent, more intense. This is one of the direct impacts of climate change: heat waves. As temperatures rise, we see an increase in heat-related illnesses and deaths. These range from heat exhaustion and heat stroke, which can be fatal, to cardiovascular and respiratory diseases exacerbated by the heat. But the health impacts of climate change aren't limited to just the heat. Extreme weather events like hurricanes, floods, and wildfires are becoming more frequent and more severe due to climate change. These disasters don't just cause immediate injuries and deaths, they also have long-term health consequences. Consider, for instance, the aftermath of a devastating flood. Homes are destroyed, infrastructure is damaged, and people are displaced. In the wake of such trauma, we see a surge in mental health issues, including anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's not just mental health. The disruption of healthcare services, especially in vulnerable communities, can lead to chronic health problems. For example, people may struggle to manage chronic conditions like diabetes or heart disease without regular medical care. Then there's the impact on food and water. Droughts can lead to water shortages, affecting both drinking water supplies and agriculture. On the flip side, heavy rainfall and flooding can contaminate water sources, leading to outbreaks of waterborne diseases. The health impacts of climate change are complex and far-reaching, affecting everything from our physical health to our mental well-being, from our food and water supplies to our healthcare systems. And these are only the direct impacts. The indirect effects of climate change on our health can be even more far-reaching. Beyond the immediate, climate change sets off a domino effect that can impact our health in surprising ways. Let's explore some of these indirect impacts, starting with the spread of infectious diseases. As our climate warms, disease-carrying insects, also known as vectors, are expanding their range. The mosquito, for instance, is a vector for many diseases, including malaria and dengue fever. With warmer temperatures, mosquitoes can survive in previously inhospitable regions, potentially exposing new populations to these diseases. Similarly, changes in precipitation patterns can create more breeding grounds for these vectors, again increasing the risk of disease transmission. In fact, according to the World Health Organization, climate change is expected to cause approximately 250,000 additional deaths per year between 2030 and 2050 due to malaria, diarrhea, heat stress, and undernutrition. Moving on, let's talk about air and water quality. Increased temperatures can lead to more frequent and intense wildfires, which produce smoke and pollutants harmful to our lungs. On the other hand, heavier rainfall can lead to water contamination, affecting our drinking water and food supply. Speaking of food, climate change also has significant impacts on food security and nutrition. Rising temperatures and changing rainfall patterns can reduce crop yields, leading to food shortages and increased prices. This could potentially lead to malnutrition, particularly in poorer communities. Moreover, elevated levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere can lower the nutritional quality of crops, meaning even if we have enough to eat, we may not be getting the nutrients we need. To wrap up, these indirect impacts of climate change on our health are intricate and far-reaching. They can influence where and how diseases spread, the quality of our air and water, and even the availability and nutritional value of our food. As you can see, the health impacts of climate change are extensive and varied. But don't worry, in our next segment we'll discuss what you can do to protect your health in a changing climate. So, stay tuned. Despite these alarming revelations, there are steps we can take to safeguard our health in a changing climate. Let's discuss some strategies to mitigate the health impacts of climate change. First and foremost, strengthening public health infrastructure is crucial. When robust, it can shield us from the direct and indirect effects of climate change. This means investing in early warning systems for extreme weather events, improving water and sanitation facilities, and enhancing local capacities to manage climate-sensitive diseases. Next, healthcare itself needs to become climate smart. Hospitals and health facilities must be equipped to function during extreme weather events. This includes ensuring they are built on safe ground, away from flood or landslide-prone areas, and have reliable power sources. Furthermore, healthcare providers should be trained to understand the health effects of climate change, enabling them to better serve their communities. But it's not all up to the authorities. We have a role to play too. One of the most impactful ways we can protect our health is by reducing our carbon footprints. This can be as simple as choosing to walk or cycle short distances instead of driving, or as significant as opting for renewable energy sources for our homes. We can also advocate for policies that protect the environment and our health. This could involve supporting initiatives that promote clean energy, sustainable transportation, and responsible waste management. Remember, every action counts, no matter how small it might seem. Finally, it's important to adapt our lifestyles to the changing climate. This could involve taking precautions during extreme weather, staying informed about climate-sensitive diseases in our area, and making dietary choices that are both healthy and sustainable. The climate is changing, and so must we. How will you protect your health in a warming world?